I did. Look, I did. But you know how it go. Thank you, though. All right, I'm moving. Since I'm not supposed to be sloping tonight. Hello there, sir. How are you? Said we supposed to be in alphabetical order. I noticed that. I was like, I'm not messing with it. I didn't do it.
Okay, that's good.
You're welcome. It's like, I didn't do it. Good evening. Yeah, come back after. We figured. Because I noticed it wasn't in order, and I just kind of said, okay. I was, but we weren't in order, so yeah.
Good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
My name is George Parks, and I want to greet all of you on today. I am the senior servant here at the Metropolitan Church, where we are celebrating 161 years of kingdom building. Many of you may know of Metropolitan. We were established in D.C., but we serve the DMV. And we are grateful to have you here on our campus today. We know this is an important and pivotal election for our county, and we are grateful for all of our candidates that are here sharing with us on today. So if you see anyone here with a Metropolitan shirt, would our ushers, would you wave at us? Just look around. If you need anything, our ushers are here to serve you. And let me pause and thank God for all of our staff members who have played such a pivotal role to ensure that you're comfortable. If you're a staff member here at the Metropolitan Church, would you rest on your feet? So once again, thank you for sharing with us as we hear from our candidates. Permit me to center us in a word of prayer. Lord, we thank you for the gift of a new day. And Lord, we lean on the words of the Old Testament. What does the Lord require of us? To do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly before our God. So Lord, as we hear the varying views, let us always be sensitive to the needs of those who are on the margins, who oftentimes their voice is not heard. And Lord, we thank you for this great place called Metropolitan that has stood and continues to stand as a beacon of hope, love, and justice in the DMV. It is in Jesus' name we pray and have hope. Amen. God bless you. Thank you. Welcome to Metropolitan.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. God of our wearies, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light. Keep us forever in thy path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Oh, shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for Forward Together. And that was just a small tribute to give honor and pay homage to those who sacrificed their life and their time and effort to show Prince George's County was able to have some type of progress. So thank you guys so much for joining. We are so happy to have you here. This is a crucial moment for our county as you present here speakers to be the power of our community engagement efforts. I especially want to recognize the young voices in the room. Our youth are not just now, they are our future. They are leading right now in this room, asking tough questions and shaping the direction of our county. Their involvement reminds us that every decision made today impacts generations to come. Prince George's County residents deserve clear, accessible insight into the leaders seeking to represent them. Our candidates vision board, if you see right here, we have a vision board of all of our candidates' responses, super high level of various topics that are important to our county. So we thank you again so much for participating. We also have a live polling. If you want to participate in that polling, we are going to take those results and share those results with our candidates moving forward. So thank you so much. I'm going to bring right now to the stage Renata Johnson from Kiamsha Youth. She is the executive director that brought all of our young people together to assist with this political forum. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Like you said, my name is Renata Johnson. I'm the Executive Director of Kiamsha Youth Empowerment Organization. For over 32 years, Kiamsha has been working hard in the county, making sure that young people's voices are always heard. Because what we know when we study our history, that young people have always been in the forefront of every movement that has moved this country forward. In Kiamsha, we really work hard to focus on three different things. One is history, Black history, because Black history is American history. We also focus on integrity and leadership. And through all of that, we know that voting is extremely important, and we want to make sure that young people's voices are consistently heard. So tonight you will hear from two youth panelists that will be representing Kiamsha and representing their generation. Our first youth panelist is Sarah Robinson, a 16-year-old junior at CMIT South High School in Prince George's County. She's passionate about the performing arts and plans to pursue a career in the justice system. Through her involvement with Kiamsha Youth Empowerment Organization, she has participated in several community-serving events, led youth workshops, and served as a panelist for the annual No Excuse for Dating Abuse Summit held by Prince George's County, highlighting critical issues like teen dating violence. Additionally, Sarah spoke at the most recent Dr. Carter G. Woodson birthday celebration with the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, honoring the father of Black history, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, emphasizing the 2025 Black History theme, African Americans and Labor. She is truly committed to using her voice and platform to educate and empower and advocate for her community. So y'all give it up for Sarah. Our next youth panelist is Luther Davis, a 17-year-old senior at Bowie High School in Bowie, Maryland. He is a student athlete with aspirations to become a professional track and field athlete as well as a pediatrician. Through his involvement with Kiamsha Youth Empowerment Organization, he has engaged in peer-to-peer education on critical social issues, led youth workshops, and supported community service initiatives. Luther has also contributed to historical preservation efforts with the National Park Service, as well as the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. His passion for leadership, history, and advocacy is evident in his work to amplify young people's voices across the country, reflecting his dedication to meaningful community impact. So you all give it up for Luther. Now I have the honor and privilege to introduce our forum moderator, Ms. Tracy Wilkins. She is an investigative reporter for NBC4 Washington. She's won an Edward R. Murrow Award, multiple Emmys, and Associated Press Awards. In 2022, she was named Journalist of the Year by the Washington Association of Black Journalists. Ms. Wilkins was News 4's founding Prince George's County Bureau Chief, and for 12 years, built the Bureau from the ground up. She covered, yes. She covered U.S. presidential inaugurations, moderated televised U.S. Senate and gubernatorial debates, covered federal, state, and local elections and politics. Her award-winning investigations have exposed discriminatory behavior in police agencies, igniting policy and leadership changes. Since 2003, her coverage at NBC News 4 has led to national TV appearances on NBC, MSNBC, Discovery ID, TV One, and a feature in Metropolitan Magazine. Having operated a teen mentoring group for several years, she received awards for her philanthropic work, including the Prince George's Social Innovation Fund's Wayne R. Curry Forever 41 Award. Wilkins was named 2023 Citizen of the Year by the Gamma Phi chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated in Prince George's County. She's a member of the Federal City Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority and president of the Washington Mid-Atlantic Local of the SAG-AFRI Union. Wilkins was raised in Beltsville, Maryland, where she graduated from High Point High School and Frostburg State University in Frostburg, Maryland. Wilkins and her husband have 2 children. I will turn it over to her to guide the rest of the evening.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing tonight? Say yay for democracy. I mean, this is, I'm trying to, okay, there we go. Hi. So I want us to get right to our questions today and remind everybody we've had prayer and all the things, so y'all know we in the house of the Lord. We're in the house of the Lord. Right. All right, so we're going to have a good time in the name of the Lord and learn a little bit about these candidates. They have been doing a lot of these forums, these debates. I know a lot of you who have attended them. Hopefully I've got some questions that they haven't been asked before. They've been asked a lot of questions. But the bottom line is that we want to make sure that folks have the opportunity to know what these people stand for so that when you go to vote, you are voting standing on real information. How many of us know elections have consequences? All right. Okay, so to be clear, mail-in ballots have already been sent out and early voting started yesterday. It ends March 3rd. Primary election day is March 4th, and we have 11 candidates who are vying for the position of Prince George's County Executive. We have 7 of them here tonight. The primary winners will face off in a special election on June 3rd. So we have some rules. Candidates were provided, they don't have it, so that's fine. But they weren't allowed to bring up any paper, pen, or notes on their own. And we ask that they not use phones or electronic equipment during the debate as well. Candidates are seated here in alphabetical order, but we're going to be asking questions randomly. There will be no opening statements for this debate, but they will be allowed to have closing statements. We have the 2 student panelists who will ask 1 question each, who you all have already been introduced to. Candidates will have 1 minute to respond to questions unless the moderator reduces time to allow for additional questions or a lightning round of questions. Again, candidates will have 1 minute to respond to all questions because we want to get in as many questions as possible. And so to help the candidates know when it's time for them to stop, we have a whole system. So when you see the yellow flag, okay, that means the yellow pole means, yeah, there we go, yellow flag. That means you've got 15 seconds left. When you see the red one, stop. Stop, stop, stop. And we also have to help you know when it's time to stop. A bell. There you go. So everybody will be clear when it's time for candidates to stop. We do ask you to respect the time limit. Please do not go over the time limit so that we can get as many questions in as possible for the folks who are here today. Since this is not a debate and is a forum, there will be no need for rebuttal tonight. Again, we have our timers here who are paying very close attention to the time and also have our flags. Each candidate will be allowed 1 minute and 30 seconds for closing statements at the end of the forum. Rashawn Baker has been allowed to submit a videotaped closing statement that will be 1 minute and 30 seconds in his absence. We ask that each candidate respect one another and this debate. And for the audience, please hold all applause and response to what happens here until the very end after closing statements so that we can move as quickly as possible. And we ask that just everyone be respectful of all of our folks who are participating here tonight. So let me introduce you to our candidates. We have Aisha Braveboy, Prince George's County State's Attorney, Marcellus Cruz, who is a business owner, Calvin Hawkins, at-large council member, Ron Hunt, entrepreneur and nightclub owner, Albert Slocum, real estate advisor, Tanya Sweat, who is attorney and an education advocate, Alonzo Washington, Maryland State Senator for District 22. Feel free to give them applause before we start. Thank you all. So again, we're going to be asking these questions randomly, and let's start with the first one. Because we're here, let's begin with something that irritates a lot of Prince Georgians as we drive by every day. What is the plan for the former Landover Mall site? Do you agree with proposals for it to become a data center farm? I'm going to begin with Calvin Hawkins on this one.
Testing. That matter is before the county council. As it stands, a data center at Landover Mall, from a zoning perspective, it has a right to be there. But why would we start the first data center in Prince George's County in the black and brown community? I don't support it. I think it's environmental racism. I think we haven't looked at it properly, and I don't want Prince George's County to put the first data center over at Landover Mall.
Okay, thank you. Aisha Brave Boy.
So data centers have an appropriate place in our economic ecosystem, but when it comes to location, we have to take into consideration the environment and the people, and where is the most advantageous place to put a data center. You know, the question about a data center is, where are you going to get the energy? Where is it coming from, the electricity? The concern I have is the overhead lines that will need to come in order to get that energy to the data center. I think Landover Mall not only is the inappropriate site, I think it could be a very dangerous site for our community, and I'm absolutely opposed to that.
Mr. Cruz.
Coming out of technology innovation, there are better ways to do data centers. There's some companies that are coming out with new products that I believe that will change how we do data centers. With that being said, I'm a big opponent for urban building. It's time for us to build differently, where we have condos and mixed type of units with retail on the bottom. It's time for being able to just walk to retail and to the grocery store. That's the kind of building that I would like to see in this county. We are building incorrectly, where we're building a lot of homes, which means that taxes will be on residents. It's time to expand commercial tax base. So that's what I would do with that land. Thank you.
So you don't support data centers going there?
No, I said there's a better way.
Okay, got it. Mr. Hunt?
That's a two-part question. As you know, the commanders are not going to be here anymore, and everybody's talking about possibly tearing something down. As a lot of you who know me, you know I like to make money, and I don't like to spend money to make money. First thing we do with that property, we turn it into an entertainment site, because we keep that stadium packed from April 1st to October 1st. The commanders will only bring in $6 million in taxes a year. I think we can get double that. That will bring more people to the area. As far as data centers go, all of this is nonsense. Put it out. We have so much, 429 square miles. Put it out somewhere and let them do their own infrastructure, bring in what they need to bring in, so it costs us nothing. Let's stop playing like, oh, because they put it there, it's going to be so bad. It's going to be bad wherever it is, but let them pay for it. That's how we do it. And you know what? We will reap the benefits from taxes later on.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Mr. Slocum, and I ask that you please withhold applause. Mr. Slocum?
As a developer on the not-for-profit and nonprofit sector, we need to build up that Landover area. So what that means is no data center in that area, none. We need to put that in an industrial area, number one. Number two is I want to build so that everyone here has the first right of refusal or right of first refusal as far as well-paying jobs, bringing large corporations in. I come from an urban area, so I understand what that looks like. I've been here for 25 years, and I want to bring wealth to our communities. So senior living with economically feasible development. Housing, living, quality living, smart living for individuals with disabilities, working class, working poor, and housing insecurities. I want to have amenities so that we all can enjoy and get the commanders out of there, because they're not pouring into our communities. So there's going to be more conversations as we go on for tonight. But that's what I would do immediately.
Ms. Sweat.
Thank you for the question. No, I do not support putting a data center there. And for those who don't know, a data center is basically the cloud. So they're going to charge you money to store your computer information, and then, as it's already been mentioned, destroy our environment. What should we do with that raw land? We do what we promised to do in 1997. We were supposed to build an economic and commercial support system for the commanders. At the time, they were the Redskins. We didn't do that. So we need to do what we promised them we would do over 30 years ago. Build hotels, a conference center, shopping, restaurants, sports bars. And that way we can use the commanders, because yes, I'm going to fight to keep them here. We can use the commanders to build tourism in Prince George's County. To diversify our revenue, we need to invite others to come spend their money with us. So that we don't have to share the burden of taking care of ourselves by ourselves.
Mr. Washington.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Look, the answer is no. I would not support data centers at that site. And let's just talk about the reason why we're here. The reason why we're here is because the learners who owns that property there, we have not held them accountable for that hole in the wall that sits there, the hole in that ground that sits there right now. If we were to actually hold them accountable, I'm pretty sure we'll have mixed-use development there. I know for certain that if this was in a white community, that hole wouldn't be there at all. We need to hold those people accountable for what they're doing, leaving that property empty, leaving it the way it is. It's sad to my community that I represent there, and we need to build mixed-use development right at that site. Thank you.
I was waiting for somebody to mention the learners, owners of Tyson's and partial owners of the Nationals, but this is what's happening in Prince George's County. Let's move on to the next question. Crime is on a downward trend this year in Prince George's County. Still, juveniles are leading in carjackings and car thefts. Some say it's a revolving door of repeat offenders. Is extending jail time for juveniles a solution? Ms. Sweat?
Extending jail time, no. They have to suffer consequences for their bad conduct and their bad behavior. But locking them up and throwing away the key is not the answer. Our juveniles are not criminals, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Many of those juveniles are watching their parents work 2 and 3 jobs to try to keep the lights on, a roof over their head, and bread on the table. Many of those students are not being educated well enough to get jobs so that they can contribute to their family in a legal way. The crime that we see our juveniles involved in is because they're trying to take care of home the best way that they know how. The people we need to lock up are the adults who are encouraging and contributing to the delinquency of our minors. We're pointing the finger at the babies, but we're letting the adults off the hook. And they're using our babies because they know we're not gonna lock those babies up. Locking the babies up are not the answer. We need to educate them, prepare them to transition to work, and then catch those bad devils who are out there being a horrible influence on our babies.
Mr. Washington.
Yeah, thank you for the question. You know, I asked you the question, is crime down in Langley Park? Is crime down in Riverdale area? Is crime down in some of our worst neighborhoods here in our communities? Some of the hard-hittest neighborhoods in our communities? We need to really focus on juvenile crime. For me, no, I don't think the answer is extended time. I think we need to hold them and hold their parents accountable for what they're doing. We need to hold adults accountable for what they're doing, influencing these young people for actually committing these crimes. We need to make sure that what we're doing at the state is making sure we can hold them as long as we can and make sure that they are held accountable to account here in the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Slocum.
I don't think all the parents are bad parents. I think that when you lock up children and they're innocent, that's a problem. And we have that issue at the state's attorney's office right now. The other issue is that we need to hold those who are exploiting our children, and those are the influencers. Now, I mentioned the economic development going on in Landover, not taking the data center here and putting it somewhere else. We need vocational technical training for those who do not go to college so they can have carpentry, plumbing, electrical. We also need educational centers from a financial literacy standpoint that will also help tutor our children. Because at the end of the day, if we don't take care of our youth, then when they do become our future of Prince George's County and they run for office, then now we got better criminals in office. Thank you, Albert Slocum.
Mr. Hunt.
crime is not down in Prince George's County. Mr. Hawkins will tell you, Mr. Washington will tell you, it's not down. That's one. Number two, it starts in the schools. These kids are hitting these teachers, no more. If I am in charge, they're going straight to jail. That means that, oh no, they're gonna spend the night in jail and their parents can pick them up in the morning. I want them to see that silver toilet. I want them to see that bed there. You assault a teacher, our teachers are heroes. What is wrong? So here's my point. And if a parent comes to me, and I don't care about the council members, I'm not gonna lie to you. If a parent comes to me, my child's not gonna stay there, no problem. Don't bring him back to our school. He's expelled. And now that I'm in charge, no school in Prince George's County. And if you can go to a private school, you'd have had him there in the beginning. And here's the deal. If you do let him stay, because he needs to learn a lesson, because I don't want to blame it on you, what happens next is a beautiful thing. He'll be suspended for 5 days. You have to come into counseling with your child for 3 days. And guess what happens next? He's not going back to that school. He's going to go to another Prince George's County school, because he is now shown he's a clear and present danger to that school.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Mr. Hawkins, and just to fact check, overall violent crime is down in Prince George's County overall, according to the Prince George's County Police Department. Mr. Hawkins?
Tracy, can you repeat the question?
Crime is down or on a downward trend this year in Prince George's County. Still, juveniles are leading in carjackings and car thefts. Some are calling it a revolving door of repeat offenders. Is extending jail time for juveniles a solution?
Extending jail time for juveniles is a solution for those who continue to repeat very violent crimes. But for me, working with men and women who have come out of our adult prison system, we are working weekly with these young men and working with them so they understand the consequences of their actions. Because many of them do not understand what's going on in their life. So we are working to deal with the root problems of these violent crimes that our young people are committing. So what I'm saying to you, it depends on the crime, but I'm committed to working on the root causes of the crime with men and women who have been on the other side, who are now got their lives together and who are working with these young men and young women to create an atmosphere where they understand responsibility to become legitimate citizens is still in their horizon. We're trying to keep them out of the detention centers.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. Mr. Cruz.
For some, just case by case, it depends on the situation. But listen, crime is a symptom. Last year, we had over 9% of young people to drop out of school. 75% of all inmates dropped out of school. The year before last year, we had over 8.5% to drop out of school. That's over 10,000 kids, okay? Over 10,000 kids. So my point here is it is time for a second pathway in our education system. Entrepreneurship, certifications, apprenticeships. And when I talk about certifications and apprenticeships, I'm not talking about trade. I'm talking about every field has certifications. Dental hygienists, hair. We're limiting the scope. It is time to get serious about our education system. We spend over $2.9 billion right here in Prince George's County. We can do better. Thank you.
Ms. Braveboy.
You know, I study the numbers all the time because it helps us to know whether or not the strategies that we've employed are actually working. Last year, crime was down overall 10%. This year, we're down an additional 30%. So what we know is that we're working together effectively and collaboratively with our police department, with our sheriff's office, with all of our municipal agencies. It's really important that we understand that we must work together. But the most important people that have to work with us is actually all of you, our residents. You serve as our jurors, you serve as our witnesses, and also you understand what's going on in your communities. So what I would say is that crime is down, carjackings are down over 64%, which is very positive. What we have to do is ensure that not just our children, but their parents too, have a place that they can go to get assistance. And myself, along with Sheriff John Carr, opened a Family Justice Academy to assist justice-involved youth and their parents so that they can live
Ms.
a better life.
Do you agree in extending jail time for juveniles?
I believe that appropriate punishments for juveniles is an individual question, and that's what the juvenile system addresses.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go to one of our students for a question. Sarah?
Hi. As a student in the county, I see how easy it is for young people to get their hands on drugs, from vaping in school bathrooms to marijuana and other substances. It has become so normal that even teachers look the other way. I'm really scared that my friends are at risk of becoming addicted at an early age. How do you plan on addressing the rise in youth drug use and ensure the intervention, prevention, and accountability in our schools and our communities?
These kids worked hard on these questions based on their real life experiences. We'll start with Mr. Washington.
Thank you. Great question. You know, I grew up here in Prince George's County and went to public schools, and it was a safe haven for me growing up in homeless shelters, living in poverty, growing up in public housing. It was a safe haven. Now I know today that's not the case for so many of our students. They can't go to school feeling safe. And so for me, what I did as a legislator, as a senator, was create a specialist network where right now in our high schools, we know our professionals, our counselors, our administrators, our healthcare providers, our behavioral specialists are not working together to solve the issues of our students within our schools. Under my leadership, I created this specialist network so they're actually working together with our students. And that's what we call a community school. So that all of the resources that are in the school are working in tandem to identify the student and where they are to be able to help them along the way when they get into trouble. And that's what I would do as county executive, is exacerbate that program so that it's available in every school here in the state.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Ms. Sweat.
I do thank you for that question, and it breaks my heart to know that our babies are vaping in class, using drugs in class, eating edibles in class. So we've got to, again, educate our children to know that drugs are not healthy, they're not safe, especially when they're not used in a controlled way under the guidance of medical professionals. Now, one of our problems is we legalized marijuana in this state. So there's easier access to it. It's in the home. They bring it from home. What we have to do now is take these wraparound services out of the school, because the school can't go home and tell mommy and daddy what to do with their drugs. It just does not work. We're going to have to rely upon Department of Family Services. We're going to have to refer more of our families to the Department of Social Services. And our social workers are going to have to follow our children home to also educate the parents to the dangers of allowing their children to get access to these very harmful things, because they stunt growth, they hurt them academically, and we have to do better.
Thank you. Mr. Slocum.
We need to get to the root cause. That's where it is. If we had the answers, if the current administration had the answers, kids would not be hooked on drugs. They would be hooked on phonics, right? I want everyone in here to make this go viral, because today is going down, and the truth is going to come out. So to your question there, we need intervention, and we need programs, but we need strong leadership. We don't need people playing musical chairs from one seat to another, because that's not the solution. You're going to get the same results, okay? You need real results, real change, people that understand and who have been in your shoes. So I'll end it right here, because I'm sure we're going to have an opportunity to really get it out there, and this is going to be a really juicy evening tonight, okay? But make this go viral. I want you all to call your families, your friends, your uncles, your nephews, your nieces, and even on social media, okay? Because you are going out to vote, and you got to make sure you're voting for the right people. And tonight is the night. Thank you.
Mr. Hawkins.
I'm already working on that problem, sir, and I'm glad you raised it. For me, I'm not in the schools, but what I've done over the last 3 weeks, I've not only gone into the go-go community, because they have respect of some of your young peers, and we've been sitting down talking about not just the vaping and the bathrooms, but we've also been talking about bullying in our schools. So what I'm saying to you and to the individuals here, we need bold, courageous, out-of-the-box kind of leadership. And as your next county executive, that's what I'm going to bring, because I'm doing it already. And we're working to ensure that what you ask, we're addressing, because I'm not in your schools, but the young people who are there, they're talking honestly and openly about what's going on. But we can't stop with the vaping and the use of marijuana. We also got to deal with the bullying. Calvin Hawkins is coming as your next county executive to deal with those concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. Mr. Cruz.
Changing the culture. Now, my company, Cruising Technologies, with other nonprofits, we're in schools. And I have seen change. But you have to do it correctly. 96% is the graduation rate of Build.org, an organization that we partnered with. And that's across the country, black and brown. In our county, we're in the 70 percentile graduation rate. The point is, when you focus a child, and I'm going right back to where I started, apprenticeships, certifications, entrepreneurship. When you focus a child, the culture begins to change. They begin to learn differently. We're doing this right now. This is not something that I'm just up here talking about and giving you some anecdote. It is time for us to change the culture. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Ms. Brave Boy.
Thank you. You know, I go to high schools a lot, and I talk to young people, and I love doing it because I grew up in this community. I attended Largo High School, and in fact, before Kiamsha was Kiamsha, Miss Dunn and her husband worked with some of us to create, you know, a program to assist young people who wanted to be leaders. And so I was very proud to be in this school system here in Prince George's County, and still am a proud graduate. What I talk to our young people about today is the fact that so many of them feel depressed. They need someone to talk to. They're concerned about their peers. Those who are in our criminal justice system, you know, the number one issue that has risen during COVID and after is suicidal ideation. So some of these young people are acting out, they're taking drugs, they're getting involved in crime, but they are depressed, and we need to get to the bottom of it.
Thank you, Ms. Brave Boy. Mr. Hunt.
It's like I said from the beginning, it starts in the schools. Here we are, and you must understand, this is not the time of the 70s when you had a certain type of curriculum. Technology is everything. We have to have a different curriculum. That means how to make movies, how to make songs, how to do this, how to do that, how to work on airplane engines. All of that type stuff creates a different atmosphere that excites these kids and make them want to do better. Because if you tell a kid not to do it, he's gonna do it. But here's the deal. We have, and I'm gonna keep referring to this, we have 4,500 buildings doing nothing in Prince George's County. Now we're talking about affordable senior housing, affordable everything, because we don't have to put that kind of money into it. We have to put a fraction of that money into it, not to create boys clubs, but studios, but different things for kids to want to come to. That's on us. Those 4,500 buildings mean the world. No more blueprint nonsense.
Thank you,
Too much
Mr.
money.
Hunt. Thank you, Mr. Hunt. If talks with DC fall through and the commanders decide to remain in Maryland, would you support them staying in Landover or moving to National Harbor, a site proposed under Governor Hogan? Start with Mr. Cruz.
Yes. I support moving the stadium, but I also support what I've been saying in every forum. Wherever the stadium goes, we have to build a true ecosystem, an ecosystem for growth, mixed units. And I'm gonna keep banging this. The way we are building is just so incorrect. Woodmore, there should have been condos and office space on the top with retail down on the bottom. It's time for foot traffic. Foot traffic represents over $2 trillion in the U.S. last year. We're not making the money that we should. It is time for growth. All of the issues that we have, the deficit that we have, unless we start growing, we're going to stay in this mess. Thank you.
Ms. Braveboy.
I would encourage the stadium to remain in the Landover area. There must be more than one commercial engine in our county. And the people in the Landover area were promised, not just the team, but the people were promised a vibrant commercial area, and we have to deliver on that. The former county executive, Ms. Olsa Brooks, brought home $400 million for the Blue Line corridor, and the stadium is a part of that. And so what that means is that we have investment that we can place on the table into building out a vibrant commercial area right there at the Landover site. And I've spoken with our Governor Westmore, who's a big supporter of mine, who said, you know what, we owe it to the people in the area that that stadium has impacted for so long to be able to enjoy commercial development, new residential development, retail, and everything that was promised.
Thank you, Ms. Braveboy. Mr. Hawkins, Landover or National Harbor?
Landover Mall is an opportunity to rebuild and reimagine that whole area. My friends, for the last 7 months, I've not only worked with the governor's office on what should happen over at Landover Mall, I also worked with my good friend, former county executive and now United States Senator Angela Alsobrooks, who, by the way, endorsed my candidacy. What we've been doing for the last 7 months is working with the governor's office and working to ensure that we can keep our commanders there. What I will share with you, yes, the news and the media says that they're moving to southeast at the RFK Stadium, but the deal that we have on the table, we really believe we have what it takes to keep them there. Not only are we keeping them there, we have already been working with the owners of the commanders who own that land to ensure the economic development plan they have works for that community that has yet to get the economic development they should.
Mr. Hawkins.
Thank you.
Mr. Slocum.
I would not support the Commanders to be in our backyard at all. Just like Manassas, they denied Disney from being in their backyard. How many people want to do better? Show of hands. Better in our community, making more money, having a future for your children, having money going towards the impact fund, having money going towards our infrastructure, not being absorbed again by our deficit, right? The Commanders stay, then we're going to have that cycle. Now, I love the Commanders, but because of the history from an economic standpoint, it has not been feasible for our communities. And that's what I'm saying. If it were the other way around and the Commanders did what they were supposed to, and I don't know what the dynamics were, but that's not the case. We need our monies back in our community so we can keep it recycling from an economic standpoint so that we don't have crime. We have a decrease in crime. And I know this is not popular, but you guys will thank me later. So again, not at Landover and not at National.
Thank you, Ms. Sweat.
Absolutely, I want them to stay in Landover. Because again, the county never did what it was supposed to do. Every ticket that is sold at Northwest Stadium gets 10% sales tax, not 6%. That 10% sales tax comes to Prince George's County, and it's supposed to go to the communities around that stadium. They've never seen a dime, not one red penny. I represent a co-op who's been fighting to get that money for years. And I got a memo from the county council saying there was no money in the stadium mitigation impact fund. Why is that when the Commanders is paying a whole lot of money to us every single year? That was one of the reasons why they considered leaving, because we didn't do what we were supposed to do. And it's not just the football tickets that they sell. Beyonce did a concert there twice, 10% on her tickets too. Little League plays games on that field, 10% on those tickets too. The county took the money and put it in the fund to redevelop around that stadium. And the stadium is not in Plan 2035. If the county does what it wants to do, that'll be housing. It will not be a stadium. So yes, I want them to stay in Landover.
Thank you.
No more profits for the Peters Group.
Thank you, Ms. Sweat. The Peters Group doesn't have anything to do with that site. but-
They own National Harbor.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sway. Mr. Washington?
Look, they own National Harbor, but they don't own that site. That site is the federal government's site, and it's actually not usable at all, according to the federal government. So we can't, that's not even an option. The commanders are moving to DC because the federal government, along with the state and the county, rolled out the red carpet for them to move there by allowing the RFK site to be available for this, to be able to compete with us. They asked, the owner of the commanders asked the governor to stand down when they was going through the federal fight. We need a fighter here in Prince George's County who's gonna make sure we keep the commanders, keep the investments here. And that's what I'll do as county executive. No more of this nonsense. Ensure that we're protected here in Prince George's County. Thank you.
Mr. Hunt?
As you heard what I said earlier about the Redskins, they only give us $6 million a year in taxes. What I'm trying to tell you is what basically everybody up here is telling you, except I want to grab it by their necks. We are April 1st to October 1st. Let's pack that thing. And I have people, because I've been in entertainment, I haven't owned clubs in about 20 years, so they keep saying I'm a club owner. That's fine. Doesn't matter. I know how to make money. And we'll keep that place packed all the way through and see if we can get double the revenue. And we fix up that Landover Mall area to be an entertainment center, and we bring triple the revenue in. That's what this is all about. The commanders are not going to be with us, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just face up to it right now. I don't care what nobody up here says. You know why? Because we have that maniac in the main office, and he says, I'm going to skunt those black people. I want the commanders here. That's how Trump talks. Let's be honest. He don't do nothing for us. And that's why they're going to definitely go there. And them old boys that own them are going to go like this. Yes, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. The county police department is short more than 300 officers. The county is facing a $170 million budget deficit. As county executive, would you freeze those empty officer positions to help balance the budget, Mr. Washington?
Great question. So, what I would do as county executive, I would take the recommendations of 2020 when I led the police reform work group. And what we all decided, all 23 of us, what we decided to recommend to the county executive was we transfer all the sworn police officers that are in civilian positions into community policing officers. What you're gonna hear from my colleagues here is that they're gonna hire 300 police officers. You tell me where they're gonna get 300 police officers from. Where they're gonna find them? No, we gotta be smart and think about what we're doing here. Those folks are either sitting behind desks, and remind you, they are civilian positions, so you don't need to have you don't have to have a law enforcement certificate in order to have those positions. They can be transferred into community policing, keeping you safe, knocking on your doors, ensuring that you are feeling safe in your communities, and that's what I would do as your next county executive.
Ms. Braveboy.
Well, it's interesting. I actually teach at Bowie State University, and one of the things that I do for my class is have a virtual career fair, and I invite all of the public safety agencies to recruit. And I've had students who have been recruited by the Prince George's County Police Department. We have talented students in our school system as well as in our colleges and universities who would make excellent police officers. I think what we don't do a good job of is educating our young people in the value and also really the rewards of being a public safety officer in our community. Most of you don't know that our police can make up to 85% of their pay when they retire. We don't teach our kids about things like that, but it is fiscally responsible for us to really ensure that young people know the benefits of all careers. And so I would absolutely recruit locally. Thank you.
But you would not freeze those positions?
Absolutely not.
Okay, Mr. Cruz.
I wouldn't freeze the positions, but again, I'm about pipelining. We have to create new pipelines in our education system. And that's why I'm big on a second pathway in our education system. It is time that we start planning for the future. Our kids, a lot of them, I've been in our school system. Some of them say, I want to be a police officer. But do we allow them to see apprenticeship through apprenticeships? Do we allow them to see after-school programs? A lot of our young people, I keep hearing everybody saying, let's open up rec centers, but a lot of them are on cell phones. They're playing video games. They're growing up totally different from the way we grew up. It is time to create incubators. It is time for us to get serious about how we pipeline a lot of new workers into a lot of the careers that are out there. Thank you.
Mr. Hawkins.
As a current county council member, we are working on the budget as we speak. There are 50 police positions, new recruits that are projected in this budget. Those are the 50 new employees that will be a part of our police department. I support that, and we're going to continue to work through a budget where 62% of it goes to our public schools, 18% of it goes to our public safety, which the state's attorney's office falls within that. So we have 50 officers that we are projecting to hire in this fiscal year. So that's my answer, Ms. Wilkins.
Mr. Hunt. County Police Department is short more than 300 officers. The county is facing a $170 million budget deficit. As county executive, would you freeze those empty officer positions to help balance the budget?
Okay, here's the problem that you have. First of all, nobody wants to join a police force that's like Barney Fife at Mayberry. That's what we have. We are crazy to believe that all these municipalities with all these extra little police officers, let's merge them into one so we have a force. That's what I definitely will do. Why? Because now more people will want to join us because they feel safe. You gotta feel safe in order to keep people safe. If you don't feel safe, they ain't gonna keep you safe. Think about it. All these municipalities, they're under one umbrella. What happens then? We now really have a police force. They did that in 1995 in New York. They merged transit with the New York Police Department. They have a force, the largest force in the United States. We can do that here. Without a doubt, we can do it here. And I'm gonna tell you right now, we will have people wanting to work for us because they have to feel safe. They won't be janitors anymore. Just go and clean up and go back.
Mr. Slocum.
All right, this is a numbers game. No to 300. We need technology, AI, robotic support for our police, our public safety. Now let's look at the numbers. We have a $171 million deficit. The public safety is on around 25% in 2025 approved budget. We don't need that. We need to basically invest in other areas and make sure that you all are safe by having the support that you need. Now, Prince George's County has, in the past, since 2015, not cooperated with the U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement. We need to get to the root cause. Hiring more police is not going to solve the problems that we have. We got to get to the root cause. And as county executive, I will work hard for you and fight the corruption that we have currently in our system.
Thank you, Ms. Sweat.
No, I will not freeze those positions. I will request the county council join me and call for an audit of our government finances so that we know where the, what I call fluff and stuff is. All of the discretionary spending and the wasteful spending, that's what we need to freeze. We need police. They're not just here to lock people up, but they're here to protect and serve, and we don't have enough officers to do that for all of us in this county. We can't do traffic enforcement in our own county because we don't have enough police. It takes 45 minutes for an officer to get from one side of the county to the other side of the county when there's an emergency. We need the police. When you have an accident, you don't want to sit out in the rain in the highway waiting an hour and a half for an officer to come write a report. We need the police. We need to teach our young people that police are not bad. They're here to serve and to help us, and we need to grow more officers from within. And we also need to consider opening up part-time positions for our older adults who might want to serve
Thank you, Ms.
as well.
Sweat. Thank you. Mr. Washington.
I answered the question first. I can go again if you like.
I'm sorry, Mr. Washington. I do have you on my list twice. We're going to go to Luther.
I have an answer for you.
No, we're good.
All
We're going to
right.
go to Luther Davis with another student question.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Luther Davis. As an athlete in the county, I have goals of becoming a professional track and field athlete, but food does just make it hard for young people like me to access the nutrition that we need. The lack of healthy options in PG contributes to the rising rates of childhood obesity, asthma, and other preventable health issues. How do you plan to increase access to fresh, affordable food for the youth?
We're going to begin with Ms. Sweat.
Thank you for that question. And I happen to be raising a student athlete. I have raised a student athlete. And you're right, you all eat a lot. So we had to make it available to you. To cure the food desert, what we need to do, Mr. Hunt talks about the 4,500 empty buildings in the county. Let's survey those buildings, because many of them can be used for grocery stores. I'm glad we open our boundaries to Lidl and Aldi's and other stores, but we have a whole lot more grocery stores we need to invite into the county. Harris Teeter. We need more Whole Foods. We need more Trader Joe's. If we're gonna bring Amazon distribution centers, I wanna market Amazon Fresh in the county. Bring it on in here, Mr. Bezos. We welcome you in the door. We can also do what they've done in Beltsville. We can open our doors to cooperative grocery stores. We got to do that in this county. There's room to do it, and I'll be leading the effort to make it happen.
Mr. Slocum.
We don't need McDonald's. We don't need Burger King. We don't need Wendy's. We don't need these food places. I'm not going to mention any names, but I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. But we don't need places that call their food organic. What we need is our Department of Agriculture at the county level. And we have like much acres. If we can have a 200-acre piece of land, and we have that space, believe it or not, with the 4,500 vacant buildings, we can create an agricultural environment, an ecosystem where we can create our own food. And from a proprietary standpoint, we can make money and feed everyone here in the Prince George's County, and at the same time, sell it to the rest of the counties, 23 other counties, state and national level, to decrease the budget that we are in, the deficit. That's the solution. We need to get rid of that.
Mr. Hunt.
First of all, we're not getting rid of McDonald's. It's just so we understand that, all right? Because that's a reward for the kids. I remember I was growing up daddy, okay? Here's what I think for real, putting all jokes aside. I said about a month and a half ago when we first started this, I'm the one that brought up the 4,500 buildings. I really do think out the box. I am a businessman, I get things done. And let me tell you something. What he said, what she said, what he's going to say is right. Let me tell you why. I'm not trying to be a comedian, I'm being serious. Let me tell you why. We have children that look up to us and do as we do. You understand? So if that's the case, those 4,500 buildings does mean something. Because we can bring business in here without spending a fraction of the money. Don't you hear everything I've been telling you? It's not about spending money, it's just about making it. That's how I roll. And I'm telling you right now, no matter what, you need to elect me, because I will guarantee.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Mr. Hawkins.
We need to do some fact checking around here. Luther, I grew up in Glass Manor, and I know what it means to live in an underserved area where there's not healthy food and grocery. For the last 6 years, while I've been on the council and working with the colleagues I have now, we've been putting legislation in place so that we could get the kind of food opportunities that young individuals like you can go and get the fresh food you need. We've talked, and this again, thinking out of the box, we've talked to the black farmers and local farmers in Prince George's County. We are setting up local farmers where they can come into communities and do what you just said. We saw it through COVID-19, how important fresh food is. So what I want you to know, notwithstanding what you hear tonight, help is on the way. We know what you're dealing with. We just got to get cities like Seat Pleasant to change their tax situation.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz.
I'm a vegetarian. I've been one since I was 12. So I'm all about healthy foods. And I was an athlete. I won the dunk contest at my high school. Anyway, I wanted to put that in there. Anyway, there's two things that we have to do. It is time to change our branding here in Prince George's County. It's time to show that we are the county to come invest in. My company works and does technology for the companies that build the Whole Foods, the Trader Joe's. And when I sat down with them, what I heard was, if we eliminated the perception as well as what they're feeling about theft, and that's a real thing, they would come. And I believe that we can do that. New branding, take care of the theft, and they will come, especially if you elect me.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Ms. Braveboy.
So we absolutely must invest in our farmers. Because to have farm-to-table dining experiences as well as farmers markets to assist us while we are transitioning and ensuring that we are attracting the high-quality grocers that the community deserves is important. But our farmers can stand in that gap. So the county has to invest its resources in growing our farmers. The other thing that I would absolutely recommend and suggest and hope to work with you, Luther, on is ensuring that our schools are actually providing nutritious meals for our children. Because see, the demand for nutritious food starts with our young people. And if we feed them things that are unhealthy in our schools where they're supposed to learn, then they're learning unhealthy habits. So we absolutely must invest in farm-to-table dining experiences and grocery opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Braveboy. Yes, Mr. Washington.
Thank you. Look, I think it's a great question, Luther. As a former student athlete myself, ran track, played football, went to the University of Maryland, actually played football at the University of Maryland as well. I'm a Terp. And for me, I know that our school system is not taking our student athletes seriously. They aren't providing the resources that they need in order to thrive in our schools. That includes the weightlifting, that includes the track and field that's there, that includes all the resources that are available to you. Under my leadership, I will continue to invest in you as a student athlete to ensure you're healthy here in our county and making sure that we're providing that healthy nutrition that you need as well. Now let's talk about Harris Teeter, Whole Foods, and these others. If you look at where they are in our county, they're in the white communities in our county. They are not in our black communities. If you look at Westphalia median area income is about $150,000 a year. They deserve a high-end grocer there, and that's not happening. And it's due to us not standing up about racism.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. I just interviewed the director of Maryland's ICE office. He said that since Angela Alsobrooks has left as county executive, he's had a hard time securing undocumented immigrants who have been charged with crimes in Prince George's County. Do you support Prince George's County operating as a sanctuary county, Ms. Braveboy?
No. So, what I would say, our office often cooperates with ICE when there are violent criminals who have been charged with crimes in our community. And what we do is we hold them accountable. We prosecute them. They are sentenced. Once they are done with their sentence, we ask that we cooperate with ICE to remove them. When someone commits a violent crime here in our county, that means that they have lost their right to have any compassion for us. And so that's the way we operate now. That's the way we will continue to operate.
Thank you. Mr. Hawkins.
I do not support a sanctuary in Prince George's County when it comes to violent criminals, but what I do support is ICE not having the opportunity to go into our public schools and arrest children. That's what I support. I support that a nonviolent criminal who is pulled over for maybe a traffic stop, police officers let him go but hold him until ICE get there. I don't support that. But I support MS-13 and any of those jokers that are creating violence in our community. They gotta go, point blank.
Thank you. ICE is not going into schools in Prince George's County.
They have tried.
I would like to know about that if that's the case. Mr. Washington.
Yes, I agree with the last two speakers that, it's important that we cooperate with ICE where appropriate, ensuring that violent criminals are off our streets and make sure they're held to account. What I'm not okay with is our young people is putting fear into immigrants here in our county. So we need them to make sure they identify who are the criminals in their neighborhoods and in their communities. So they have to trust our police department. And if our police department is working directly with ICE to detain them and then ship them up and then deport them, they won't trust our police department to tell them the truth about what's happening in their communities. That's the only way we're gonna drive down crimes in those communities. So I do support ensuring that we are having enough police officers on our streets, but not cooperating with ICE. Thank you.
Ms. Sweat.
Well, the county council didn't ask for my permission to pass the law to create a sanctuary county. Immigration is an exclusive federal law type of issue. And when we get involved, we create a conflict. No, violent criminals should not be allowed to remain within our borders. Federal law says a violent criminal can be prosecuted by local jurisdiction, serve his time in jail, and then they're supposed to be turned over to ICE for deportation. We haven't been doing that in this county. We don't prosecute them. The ICE director told Fox 45 about a week and a half ago that he was out looking for a criminal in Prince George's County who had a warrant for murder and was no prost on a drug charge and a gun charge. So we're not even following our own laws and doing what we're supposed to do, and that's why we're now encouraging the foolishness of our current administration. So we gotta do this right and get it right. And then I'm going to advocate with our federal delegation that they deal with the immigration problem that we have.
Thank you, Ms. Sweat. And I do need to fact check that after someone is prosecuted, they do not have to be turned over to ICE if they have a state prosecution.
If it's a violent crime, I've had a client who was turned over.
Ms. Sweat, I got to correct the record that there's a difference between federal and state regulation when it comes to being charged with a crime and who is incarcerated, under which jurisdiction. Mr. Cruz.
No. Violent crimes, criminals, I support them leaving. That said, I go to a lot of communities, and I was just at the with Haitians. Now, they came over here under the protection of the Biden administration, and now that's being revoked under Trump. And so you have a lot of people who have now established themselves here in our county. Now they're afraid. And so my heart goes out to them. And so, no, I wouldn't support us, working with ICE for certain communities. That's just how I stand, and that's where my heart is. Thank you.
Mr. Hunt.
I have a very serious problem because we all are immigrants. And the problem we have here is when an illegal alien, not an immigrant, comes in and he's a murderer and we catch him, why are we putting him in our jails and spending money to feed him? Deport his behind. Why are we putting him in jail? We have to feed him. Send him away. Now, the Supreme Court, 1996, the Supreme Court made a decision, Prince, P-R-I-N-T-Z, versus the United States. The Constitution states no government agency can force state officials to carry out government programs. That doesn't mean we have to be a sanctuary state, but we protect ours, period. I'm not telling you to come here, but if you're here, we gotta protect you. That's the way I see it, and that's the law.
Mr. Slocum.
Regarding ICE, we need to collaborate with them. Now, there was some riffraff back in 2015 where Prince George's County was alleged with not cooperating. And, you know, we have to look at the leadership, and we all have to be in this together. We have to be smart about this. If ICE goes away, you know, those individuals that do illegal crimes and are illegally here, let me say that again. Illegal is the key word. Illegal, whether you're illegally here or you're committing a crime. So to have a sanctuary, to your point, you know, yeah, we should so they don't abuse their powers, right? But we should also have a balance, and that balance is working together. Hiring more police officers, not 300, but hiring more police officers and having the technology and communications to work with ICE so that we can get, you know, the criminals off the street and our children are not exploited with the drugs and then the ghost guns and things of that nature.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
what I would
Slocum.
support.
Thank you. In Prince George's County, when it comes to land use and development, most residents in this county put elected officials in two categories. Either you are with the residents or you are with the developers. Where do you stand? Mr. Hawkins, we'll begin with you.
I stand with the progress of Prince George's County. I stand with making Prince George's County better than I found it.
Ms. Braveboy.
I stand with the residents. I am a resident. And so what residents want is that they want to be able to move around freely in their communities. They want to be able to have adequate public facilities. They want to be able to enjoy their communities. But our residents also want entertainment. They also want restaurants. They also want amenities. And so we have to, of course, work with developers. We have to work with our business community to ensure that the residents get what they want and deserve. But I will always stand first with the residents here in Prince George's County.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz.
I'm obviously with the residents. I think we have gotten a bad deal the way we've been developing. We've allowed them to lead. It is time for a county executive who leads. We have to build differently. If we're building a bunch of homes, that means we're shouldering up the taxes. But if we're building smarter, and I talked about this earlier, more urban communities, a better mix between urban and suburban, with retail. We have the largest registered small businesses of any county. Let's put them to work. They're part of our engine. They're a big part. We can grow this county and we can do it and not have deficits. Thank you.
Mr. Hunt.
Well, I'm in agreement for both of them. Because I kind of figure they shouldn't be here unless they keep us happy. That means if a developer comes in, he has to show why he's developing and make it so that the community takes advantage of his development. And we have to be satisfied with what they do. We cannot overdevelop. The community, I don't care, we can try to get votes all we want. The community definitely comes first. But let's be honest, we need their tax dollars. So we either have to let them keep building homes, or we go back to those 4,500 buildings I've been telling you about that doesn't cost us anything and get some tax revenue out of these people with those buildings that are just sitting there doing nothing.
Mr. Slocum.
I'm always with you all, the residents, my fellow Prince Georgians. When we put Prince Georgians first, that makes Prince Georgia strong. Now, because of that, I ran in 2018, I'm running again. And I became that developer because I want to learn what they were learning and what they were doing. So this one here, I can fight for you the smart way. So we do need common sense development though. And that common sense development is supposed to pour into your communities to complement. And I'm the only one up here that understands development, like very in-depth on a technical level. So as your next county executive, I can dig into that. I'm telling you that for a fact. But our current elected officials, you know, they giving you all hype about what they will do and what they're not doing, but they already did it. You follow the money, that's the developers that are pouring into their pockets. I'm here to tell you that we need per capita income in our households. And as a developer, I'm gonna look for you and I'm gonna help you and support that effort.
Thank you. Ms. Sweat.
I am with us. Full stop. And not only am I with us, the county charter says your county executive is supposed to do what's in the best interest of the people. What does that mean? I will oppose any special tax district that will require the county to add an assessment on top of your real estate taxes. We have 27 special tax districts right now in this county, and we've issued municipal bonds to build infrastructure for those communities. That causes the real estate taxes to go up because we got to pay those loans back, because that's what a bond is. It's a loan. We got to stop borrowing money to build homes. If developers want to come with a plan, they need to be willing to invest in that plan. That means we need to charge them impact fees because they're going to make their profit no matter how they do it. So yes, I stand with the residents, not with the developers. I work with them, but I'm going to do what's best for us because that's what the law requires of the county executive.
Mr. Washington.
Thank you for the question. You know, we already charge impact fees already on developers and development here in the county. You know, when I stand with the people here in Prince George's County, you know, when it came to building the maglev train through our communities, I said no along with the residents here in Prince George's County. When Amazon wanted to build a warehouse at Westphalia, where those people built their livelihoods on, I said no. It's okay to say no to development. It is okay. That's what we did in our community. We said no, and we got what we wanted in our communities. We got to say no throughout the county. We got to be okay with saying no to gas stations. We got to be okay with saying no to smoke shops. We got to be okay with saying no to more liquor stores in our communities. We have to say no when it's appropriate, and when they're building something for us that matters the most, we will welcome them in with open arms. Thank you.
Mr. Hawkins, just to clarify, developers versus residents, which bucket?
I support residents, but county executives don't have no authority over land use.
If I am, they will.
County council does.
And I'm not going to sign a bond.
Thank you, everybody. I'm going to move on to our final regular question in a regular round. Prince George's County is no longer the richest majority African American county in the country. That title now belongs to our south, to Charles County. Transplants have told me that crime, affordability, and school performance caused them to leave the county. Is recapturing the county's upper and middle and wealthier class a priority for you? And if so, how will you do it? Mr. Cruz.
Oh, I love this question. We have to put a second pathway in our education system. We have to bring that up from 24. Okay, we're ranked number 24. The next thing is, I'm sorry, what was the question? Let me just make sure.
Is recapturing the county's upper middle and wealthier class a priority for you? And if so, how will you do it?
My priority here, my priority is helping us connect the dots. Our education system to our small businesses, workforce development, helping us connect the dots between nonprofits, connecting the dots with quantum computing, cybersecurity, bioscience. We have billion-dollar industries right here that we are not investing in the way we should.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Mr. Hawkins?
Yes, that is a very important part of my portfolio. As the next county executive, I will work to bring them back. But again, over the last 6 years working with our former county executive, now our United States Senator, and my colleagues on the county council, we've been working to improve how we approach managing Prince George's County, from building 14 brand new schools over the last 6 years. For many of you, you look at that and say, our schools are still bad, but guess what? After 50 years of being one of the lowest performing public school systems in the state out of 24, we're now in a position where we're moving up. Over the last 6 years, our test scores and attendance records are going up. We're dealing with economic development. That's what the blue line is all about. We're going to work, continue to be able to do something with our police department so we can continue to return the upper class to this very important county.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. Ms. Sweat?
Absolutely, I would love to work to bring them back, but there's no guarantee that they're going to come back. We didn't treat them right when they were here. The roads are bad, taxes are high, food deserts in the county, education's at the bottom of the barrel. And we've been going through this cycle over and over and over and over again. And guess what? I'm one of those people. I chose to stay to try to make it better. And if we can't make it better real soon, we're going to hit rock bottom again because of what's happening in the federal government. And we're going to lose, not because they leave, but because they're going to lose their jobs and the money won't be there. And we're going to be back in the same condition we were in during the Great Recession. So I'm going to work my tail off to make this county a better place for all of us, a livable place for all of us. I can't guarantee those who left will come back, but I welcome them home if that's what they want to do.
Thank you. Mr. Slocum.
Yes, come back. From a financial, economic standpoint, do come back, because we do need Prince Georgians to continue to take pride in our county. We need to be number one. We're at the bottom as far as education. As far as taxes, we're at the top 5 throughout the state of Maryland. So as your next county executive, I'm going to work with you. I'm going to invite you to the table. We're going to work with a viable plan. We're going to create new jobs. We're going to create well-paying jobs. We're going to bring large corporations here with the commercial tax base that we can charge, so that way it'd be less taxes on you all from a standpoint of property taxes. So we want to make it attractive here for everyone to live in Prince George's County, but more importantly, I want to give everyone here an opportunity. I call it first right of refusal to jobs, to starting your own business, to feeding your families, to improving your per capita income. But yes, we do want people to come back because we want Prince George's County to be the place to be.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Hunt.
You know, 1 minute is like not enough time to just tell you what's happening, so I might come off funny. I'm not being funny. I'm the most experienced person in business and everything up here, and I've developed. Here's reality. I'm not being funny now. Now I'm very serious. It's what all of them are saying at the same time, but here's one thing with everybody I think you were just forgetting. Seat Pleasant is not a ghetto. You know why? Because right now, if we look at the personal property tax, here it's 2%, there it's 12 to 13%. So Safeway moved out. CVS moved out. Now Planet Fitness wants to move out because at the end of the year, they got to pay $100,000 for personal property. Forget about property tax, personal property tax. So for those politicians that are constantly saying, we have to work together, no, we do not. I'll work for you. I got this. Because I understand what's going on, and I know how to fix it. I am not joking now. You understand? That's why they're calling it a ghetto.
Miss Braveboy.
So, when I hear that, I kind of challenge the idea that we are in competition, quite frankly, with Charles County. Charles County is not even a third of the size of Prince George's County. And where Charles County is located, it is very difficult for people who may not have a vehicle to drive and to move around. So you're talking about, in so many ways, very different communities, very different counties. What I would say is where the average the average price of a townhome is $400,000, we are not necessarily suffering from not having individuals who are middle class or high income earners here in Prince George's County. in so many ways, what we're suffering from is not having opportunities for everyone. I think everyone deserves to be able to pursue the American dream. If you're working hard, you should be able to buy a home. You should be able to live well. You should be able to raise your family. You deserve and demand good government services. So we have to clean up our streets. We have to ensure that our education is on point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Washington.
Thank you for the question. You know, for us, we're not going to get those people, we're not going to get those folks back. But what we need to do, and what I blame on a lot of this, is our leadership right now in the county. We keep electing the same big names over and over again and expecting a different result. We need new leadership that's going to bring new ideas to Prince George's County. They want new ideas. They want to lower the crime rate. They want to ensure that we have early childhood education, child care centers here in Prince George's County, ensuring that we have more community policing officers, no more gas stations. They want real economic development here in our county. That's why they're moving. We want access to transportation. We're right next to DC. We got to build better and think of and bring new ideas. And that's what I'll bring as your next county executive. No more of the lame nonsense. We're going to do real things and big things here under my leadership. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to move into a lightning round where we have 30 seconds to answer these questions. A different question for each candidate. We're going to begin with Ms. Braveboy. Ms. Braveboy, do you regret supporting David Trone against U.S. Senator Angela Alsobrooks?
No.
And how would you begin to mend that relationship if elected?
No, I don't regret my choice. I wanted someone who could go in on day one and be able to get money here in Prince George's County. We are facing a huge deficit. We need someone who's able to negotiate across the aisle to bring resources here to Prince George's County. But trust me, there is no issue in terms of a relationship between me and Ms. Alsobrooks. In fact, she supported my office getting, for the first time, having a salary schedule for our office so that we can keep good prosecutors here in Prince George's County. My choice in an election is not my choice in how I govern. Thank you.
Thank you for answering that, Ms. Braveboy. Mr. Slocum, name one thing that Rashawn Baker got right as county executive.
Can I take the opposite? The negative?
30 seconds.
No, nothing.
Okay.
He mentioned that he reduced the deficit, came in with in the black. There was a $150 million deficit. You guys do the research on that. The other thing is look at MGM and look at the hospital and who's financing that money and where that money is going and where it should be going. So no.
Mr. Hawkins, should the development plan for the old Prince George's County Hospital site go to Bladensburg or Cheverly? And if elected county executive, would you get involved in that fight?
I will follow the decision of the courts because that is now a legal issue, and I will support the legal outcome of that. But I'm pro Bladensburg. If it were Bladensburg that received it, I will work with them. However, if the court rules that Cheverly should receive it, I will support them.
Mr. Washington, what is the first thing you would do to crack down on juvenile crime in Prince George's?
Yeah, I think what I'll do is also, I meet with our young people all the time, and I'm actually going to be at I'm going to be at one of the high schools tomorrow meeting with our young people. And for me, I'm going to make sure that our community policing officers, by expanding them, are not only in our schools, but throughout our county to make sure that they're more vigilant in our communities. And therefore, the carjackings will come down and we'll ensure that we feel protected in our communities too.
Mr. Ron Hunt, Governor Westmore is pausing some aspects of the blueprint for Maryland's future, the plan to improve student outcomes in every zip code. And there are serious questions on if it will ever be fully funded. Was the blueprint a mistake?
It's a definite mistake. We got 4,500 bills that we could develop. That's $1.6 billion that we shouldn't be spending, and in 4 years, $4.1 billion. Now let me get back to the other question since I just answered that one. Ms. Braveboy, you just sat there and said something about Mr. Trone. He owns you. He owns you. And the reality is, you heard my commercials when I said the lies.
Decorum, sir, decorum.
Okay, sorry.
Decorum.
The lies, sorry. The lies.
And your time is up. Ms. Sweat, is Prince George's County going to regret building its 14 new schools through public-private partnerships instead of outright ownership of those buildings?
Yes, because there was no private investment in that partnership. And we now have a mortgage for 30 plus years for 14 new schools. Because again, the county issued municipal bonds that we did not vote upon to build those schools. Yes, our children deserve healthy, safe, technologically advanced schools, but not at the cost we're going to pay for them.
Mr. Cruz, if President Trump puts a stop to building the new FBI headquarters in Greenbelt, would you fight for it if you were elected?
I would fight for it because the FBI building represents more than just the FBI coming here. It's an ecosystem that we can create. I'm all about making us money, and I'm all about expanding our commercial tax base. And so we can do that. I want to turn our community into the next Silicon Valley on the East Coast. We have a lot of sectors in our county that's ready to do that. We have the right ingredients right here to make that happen.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. We're now going to move into closing statements. Are we ready with the video for Mr. Baker? Okay, let's start with Mr. Baker's video.
I'm so sorry I couldn't be with you this evening. I had a previous engagement where I'm training county executives and mayors on how to be executives. So unfortunately, I couldn't make this forum tonight. But I wanted to leave this closing statement. This is an important election, and I say that because of everything that's going on. Every day when we wake up, we hear some more craziness coming from our federal government. Another agency has been shut down. People don't know the status of whether they'll have a job tomorrow, next year. And so people are nervous. The same thing at our state. The budget deficit balloons up to $3 billion. Every day people are concerned. And the county is the same way. We have divisive politics here. At the same time, we're dealing with a $170 million budget deficit. People are scared. Crime is rising. We have to be honest about that. Our economy is stagnant. So at this critical point, the next county executive has to be county executive on March 4th. And I say that a lot because it's really important. That person has to know what they're doing. And so when I talk about the things that I did from 2010 to 2018, it's not just a rehash and go down memory lane. It's to set a foundation to say, I know what I'm doing. When I talk about expanding our economy, it's not a guess. It's what I know and I've done. And I think that's why it's critical that we get someone who knows what they're doing. I know this county. I love this county. I am ready to roll up my sleeves and get back to work. And so I need your help. We're right here at early voting. Many of you have your ballots at your house. I want you to fill up.
All right, that's a minute 30 for Mr. Baker. Miss Brave Boy, you have a minute 30.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Aisha Braveboy, and I want to first tell you that the only person who owns me is my Lord and Savior. I'm a Christian. I have represented this community for decades because I grew up here. I love the people here in Prince George's County, and guess what? They love me back. The reason why I know that is because I have led in fundraising because individuals, over 700 individual contributors have given me everything from 1 penny to the maximum. But it was the people of Prince George's County. Over 85% of my money was raised here locally, because I work hard here, and I will continue to work hard for you as your next county executive. I'm the only person on this stage who has worked in all 3 branches of government. I've also been a small business owner, as well as worked for the largest children's healthcare provider in our region. I have the tools, the capabilities, the skills, and the relationships to move Prince George's County forward. And I ask that you vote for me, Aisha Braveboy, to be your next county executive. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Braveboy. Mr. Cruz.
It is time to realize the promise of Prince George's County. It is time for us to be known for something. Bioscience, which is right here, and technology. Our young people deserve better. It is time for us to connect those billion-dollar industries to our education system, workforce development. It is time to connect our small businesses and nonprofits and pipeline more workers. It's the economy, stupid, is where I'm coming from. It is time for us to focus on how we develop better urban versus suburban living. Up until grade 4, I was a DNF student. It was my mom who went to my 4th grade teacher. And that teacher made me learn Martin Luther King speeches. And I became an A student that same year. I wouldn't be standing here today had that not happened. So I understand that education, an ecosystem to help our young people, that's why I talk about it the most, because they are our future. And that's how we get through this and grow our economy. Marcellus Cruz, A Fresh Start. Thank you.
Mr. Hawkins.
877 individual donations. That's what I have. 30 years of serving this county. That's what I have. Last 6 years, fighting to make sure that we have a balanced budget. Last 6 years, built 14 schools. Some will tell you we have wasted money, but you tell that to the brown and black and white students that needed an opportunity in Prince George's County. You tell that to the educators who are saying thank you for transforming our educational system. When you talk about economic development in this county, 70% of the money from our revenue comes from residential housing, 30% commercial. We're building a Prince George's County where we won't continue to build on the backs of our residents. My friends, when you leave here, if you have yet to vote, vote number 4 on the ballot, because I've been there. Have I made some mistakes along the way? Certainly I have. Have you made some mistakes along the way? Yeah. Certainly you have. But if you're talking about a Prince George's County that we can build better on, continue to support Calvin Hawkins, and let's see where we go from here. We'll go to a place where we have never gone before. When County Executive Angela Alston-Brooks endorsed me after winning 5 times in Prince George's County, she didn't do it because we were friends. She did it because she knows who can move this county forward.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. Mr. Hunt. If you can all withhold your applause until the end.
I'd like to say this. Everybody's talking about the money they raised. They had me on a Zoom call and they offered me a ton of money. They said we would have a landslide because I'm the most popular guy. Even Rashawn Baker said it. You know what I said? I have a conscience. I'm not taking nobody's money. I'll put my own up. Now, brag about taking people's money. Because I'm going to tell you straight up and down. I said it earlier, and she thinks I'm disrespecting her. I'm not disrespecting her. She is owned by David Trone. That's it. He has put all his money, more than anybody else, in her campaign. That's a fact. And right now, I told her weeks ago, I said, you got problems in the state's attorney's office. You know why you got problems? Because you are withholding evidence and putting the wrong people in jail. That's a fact. Now let's look it up. Now, as far as somebody running this county, Ron Hunt is your man because I can do it all, and that's a fact. Go to my site and look at the officers, look at the people I've worked with for 20 years, not no bullcrap endorsements because I promised you a favor. That's a fact. And do I think outside the box? You skippy, I do. Reality is, I am the man for this job. Why? Because I've already proven myself 100 million times. That's a fact. And fact check me, fact check her too.
Mr. Slocum. Mr. Slocum. If everyone could please, decorum, please. Mr. Slocum.
Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. We're not gonna fake it anymore, y'all. Okay, the truth needs to be told. Entitlement. That's what we're hearing here. Our elected officials want to play musical chairs to get into another office. We're in a deficit, $171 million. County council, state's attorney. And we want to Bring them back in? I'll tell you what, you guys got the 4 musketeers or 3 musketeers. Elect any one of us, because we're gonna, whoever wins, bring the others in, okay? So you got 4 for 1, and you got integrity, you got transparency, you got accountability, and you got performance. We're gonna run this county the right way for you all. And I understand popularity kind of sways the vote, but not in our county, not in our county. Come on, y'all. You guys got a heart. I'm a man of faith. I'm a father, I'm an advocate. I'm a fighter for you all. Your fight is my fight. I'm a developer. I have an HRD background, a business background. I've been on various boards. I worked for corporate America. I know how to build things up. And I know what is true and what is fake. Y'all gotta make a decision. We're not gonna fake
Thank you.
anymore. Albert Slocum, County
Sweat.
Executive. Thank you.
Ms. Sweat.
Good evening, Prince George's County. I'm a litigator, a former federal banking and financial regulator who worked to help save this country during the Great Recession, using my home, Prince George's County, as the case study. I'm a PTA mom who fought for the blueprint for Maryland's future to make sure our children were educated. And Maryland could, now I must say, go back to the top 10 in the nation, because Maryland is no longer top 10 in education, and Prince George's County could rise from the bottom. But it's not about me. It's about you. You've been living under the regime, the leadership, the guidance of several people whose faces you've known for 30 years or more sitting up here tonight. If you're tired of high property taxes, if you're tired of being underemployed or unemployed, if you're tired of bad roads, trashy county, environmental hazards, if you're tired of being a cancer cluster and not being able to get medical care near your home, it's time for a change. It's time to get well, Prince George's County. And it's up to you to decide if you want to take up your bed and walk. Do you want to take up your vote and walk?
Thank you, Ms. Sweat. Mr. Washington.
Thank you. You know, my name is Alonzo Washington. I'm a state senator candidate for county executive. And you know, I'm pretty proud that I'm not endorsed by big names like Governor Wes Moore, who wants to slash education dollars, $300 million from public education. I'm proud that I'm not endorsed by my good friend Angela Alsobrooks in this election, because she also complained about the blueprint for Maryland's future and why we should not invest in public education. Me, I grew up here in the county. I grew up in homeless shelters. I lived in poverty all my life. I grew up in a single mother of 6 kids who worked their butt off to make sure I had a public education like no other. My principal was Joanne C. Benson at John H. Bain Elementary School. I know what it means to invest in education. We gotta ensure that anyone that grows up here has the opportunity to thrive, and that starts with our education system. Me, as your next county executive, I will continue to fight for you and the least beneath us. I will make sure that we drive down crime, ensure that our seniors have affordable housing here in our communities, ensure that your taxes are not raised. Me, I'm supported by people like Joy, who's a senior at the Collington Senior Facility, that said she thought she was gonna vote for someone else until she met me. And I promise you, I will fight for you every single day like I'm fighting for the people in District 22 here in Prince George's County. Thank you very much.
Everyone, can we give the candidates a round of applause? I just want to leave everyone here with a couple of facts that are important to remember, because we cannot allow election season and politics to convince us that Prince George's County is not winning in every way that matters. Highest median income, higher than the national average. May not be the wealthiest African American county in the country anymore, but it is second. It has a Fortune 500 company here. We have more education here than most, University of Maryland in the system and such. It is so important for the folks in this county to understand that Prince George's County is leading the way in a former slave state and is making changes in an important kind of way and showing the rest of this nation what we can do. And I would not allow anyone to put down our public schools, which I am a product of. So it's good that we have these conversations. It's good that you hear from these candidates, but please don't anybody walk out of this room with your head down if you are a Prince Georgian, because this is a wonderful place to raise your family and to raise your children. So thank you all, and just a reminder, your mail-in ballots have already been sent out. Early voting started yesterday. It ends March 3rd. Primary election day is March 4th. Bring a friend to the polls and vote with your heart, with your mind, with your conscience. Everyone have a fantastic night.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Can I say something?
No.
Oh, it's just about that app I bring it out.
No. We're done. Thank you.
So everybody, thank you guys so much for attending. We do have food. Are y'all hungry? All right. We have food from our sponsor, Jasper's Restaurant.